Welcome to Seat Time, everybody, the off-road show that brings you all the results, news, and online shenanigans that make being online a good time. We'd like to say thank you to Fly Racing for their support of Seat Time. Please go check them out at flyracing.com. Welcome to Seat Time, everybody. So, episode 95, where it's Tuesday night, just like it always is, 8 p.m. Central Time here in Texas. This is pretty much the online show for the off-road enthusiast. If you enjoy anything that has to do with dirt bikes and maybe kind of finding a way onto the off-road side of things, then this is going to be the show for you as well. We're bench racers here. We like to have a good time. We kind of like to have a few adult beverages because we're of age and we can make those kind of consenting decisions. And we like to talk about all this fun stuff that's been going on in the world. We like to bring riders and racers on and all the fun media people to come talk to us. And just give us, a heads up on what's going on in their life. Tonight we've got some great guests. We're going to be talking with Gary Sutherlin, and we're going to talk with Ryan Kudla. These guys, so Gary's going to be going to Big Sky in the next couple weeks to do the off-road national championships, and then we got Ryan has qualified for the ISDE to be on Team USA in Italy this year. So we got all kinds of cool stuff to talk about on both sides of the fence there, with all the traveling and championships that are going to be had. And that little giggle that you get to hear in the background as well, on our side is Emery, and that is Gary Sutherlin's little girl. So she is going to be telling us what it's like to be a 2-year-old. So, that's part of it. I have a 1-year-old. He has a 2-year-old. Steven has a 2-year-old. We all know what it's like to have this going on in our lives, and it's part of it. Everybody out there who's a dad knows that sometimes you just got to be a dad over everything else. So we appreciate the fact that they have taken the time to be on the show. So what is Seat Time? Again, online show for the off-road enthusiast. You can find us at seattime.co is the website. On YouTube, search for Seat Time. And you can search for Seat Time as well on iTunes and Stitcher if you just want to listen in for audio. After that, seattime.bigcartel.com is where you can go find some of our merchandise. Biggest thing is koozies. Everybody needs to keep their fresh beverages cold. Go check it out there, please. Oh, say, Gary Sutherlin and Miss Emery. How is y'all's evening going, kind peoples?
We're doing good. Say hi, Emery. Say hi.
Hi. Hi, Emery. Yes.
We're good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing fantastic. It's a little warm. I'm not going to lie here in Texas. But, hey, that's what it is. It's not like it's new. It's been this way the same 12 years I've lived here during the summer. So I just kind of go with it. It's what it is. So you guys are over in, did you say close to Glen Helen, kind of over in the California area?
We're up in the high desert area, about 30 minutes north of Glen Helen, up in the high desert where all the rough tracks and a lot of good riding and trail riding are.
Nice. And I've read around that you seem to be kind of like the working man hero, the working's man hero. So we're going to kind of get in and talk about all that kinds of stuff. I want to dig into the fact of how awesome you've done in all the Endurocross series and works, and as well some of the desert racing that goes on there in your part of California and other parts of the West Coast. But biggest thing is what are you looking forward to the most, or what has 2013 been for you? Has it been a great year, bad year, all right year, or you think it's just going to keep getting better, or what's the deal?
2013's been actually a really good year for me. I won the AMA West Coast Hare Scramble Championship. Raced, did the first 3 rounds of works, did the last works race this last weekend, and everything's been going good. Like I said, I wrapped up that championship. Been on the box in 3 of the 4 works races I've done, and then I got the opportunity to travel to Brazil, Spain, and Germany for X Games. So 2013's been good. I have not got the results in Endurocross like I wanted. I actually just switched brands for Endurocross. I'll be riding a KTM. Well, I already did ride the KTM in LA, and I've actually just been working the bugs out on it and trying to get used to that bike. So, but other than that, 13's been good, and I look forward to finishing off the year with some good results in Endurocross. I definitely feel like I have the speed. I just haven't got to put it together. Luck hasn't been my way, and we'll just keep moving forward, and hopefully it all come together.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's interesting that, and I totally spaced on the fact that, I remember seeing you on that KTM and not even going, oh, he's not on a Cowie. It's not green. It's not spray painted orange. So you say you're trying to work out some of the bugs and kind of figure out the KTM. Could you give us some of the mental things or some of the physical things that you've kind of had to do differently between, say, going from that Kawasaki to the KTM?
the thing is, at the beginning of the year, I actually I won the West Coast Hare Scramble Championship on a Yamaha.
Nice.
I rode the Yamaha there, and then I switched and rode my old Kawasaki's for the first 3 rounds of X Games, and now just switched to a KTM. And then I rode my Kawasaki this last weekend at the Works race. So I've kind of been just bouncing around, riding whatever. The reason I rode the Kawasaki for Works was, they have a great contingency program, and I actually had one left over, and so we built it. And I don't know, mentally, I think a dirt bike's a dirt bike in a way. I think every manufacturer's making a good bike at the point, and I think you put I have a lot of good sponsors, and I put the stuff I like flex bars and GPR stabilizer, good pipe, and good set of tires, and get the suspension semi-dialed in. I think it's all relevant. I think as long as you're working out, doing your work, I think you get on any bike, you're going to go fast.
Right. I know that, I was working a little bit with using the new adjustable KTM linkage guard by Stillwell Performance, the Pro Motorbillet guys. Is that something that you've tried with the adjustable pucks on that? Or have you noticed any kind of hanging on the Endurocross stuff with the KTM?
I did put the link on. I haven't actually adjusted it as far as lowering the back end or anything. I'm pretty happy with the way the bike is in the stock linkage position. But I think the 350 definitely has a lot of good characteristics with the tracks being as fast as they are now and as much practice as we're getting compared to we used to. The 350 for getting out of the gate is just, the motor's phenomenal, number one.
Right.
And I don't know. I think, the 350 for a bike right out of the box, I think for that is perfect. There's not a lot of, being a privateer and, buying my own parts and stuff, it's one of those bikes you can just roll off the showroom floor. Like I said, throw a couple things on it that you like, and it's ready to go racing. Whereas, the 250F, we had to, big bore it, and you're trying to get the motor faster and, trying everything you can to squeeze every little inch of power out of it because, Endurocross, the start is so important in Endurocross.
Right. And you've been doing Endurocross for a while now. We've seen your name come up in the results and in the kind of lineup for quite a few years. And that's where I think that the name for the working man's hero kind of came from. It's because you were Ricky Dietrich's mechanic at some point in time, working for him, maybe when he was with Kawasaki. So kind of tell us how that kind of came about, what you were doing with him, and then how that kind of transitioned into using kind of racing, or being more of a professional racer, I guess.
I grew up in Montana. Okay, here you go. I grew up in Montana, and I raced professionally in Montana for a while, and I actually got hurt and moved to Phoenix, and went to motorcycle mechanic school, and was still racing professionally, and opportunity came up to work for Ricky. And so I took it. I worked for Kawasaki for about a year, and got to meet a lot of good people, and Johnny and Destry and Nathan and everybody around that program was really awesome. And I'd always raced motocross. So then working for Ricky, I started riding more off road, and it's just a laid back atmosphere. Everybody's nice. It's just a really family oriented part of the sport. And right. After about a year working for Ricky, we'd go out and ride together and train together. And I was, he was still beating me, of course, but I was like, man, I said, you know what, enough's enough. I was too young not to try. And I went and got a job working construction in Phoenix doing glass, and did that for about 4 years, working full time and racing professionally on the weekends, and just been working my butt off, year in, year out. And then finally, got a ride with my main sponsor now, who's actually helping me out and paying me, and so that really transitioned, into a lot of opened a lot of doors, not having to work 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
And but it's tough. Whether you're working or not, it's still it's a demanding sport.
Okay. Of course, as it always comes down to, we've got to change Wi-Fi every now and again because of the fact that sometimes it just gets really crappy here in the neighborhoods of North Texas. So Gary was talking about the fact that it took about 4 years to kind of come through all this stuff. Finally started racing professionally, getting through just kind of kicking butt and taking names, and now he's finishing it off for us.
Yeah. worked a full-time construction job, and luckily, you know, I had a good group of people around in Phoenix. I did a lot of riding. And, yeah, we did, huh? Did a lot of training and riding in Phoenix with Destry and Johnny and everybody. So, you know, Phoenix was a great place. And then I recently, about 2 years ago, moved to Bakersfield, California, and started, you know, a new chapter in my life there. And now we're down in more Southern California area, and it's been good. I enjoy racing off-road, everything from, you know, West Coast Hare Scrambles, Enduro Cross Works, Hare and Hounds. Haven't had a chance to go down to Baja yet. Would like to do Baja maybe someday. GNCCs, I'm pretty interested in trying a couple of those. And so, I don't know, just the off-road community is a lot of fun. You know, it's something, look at Mike Brown. Mike Brown's still kicking our butts, and he's, you know, 41 years old. So
yeah,
it's a very rewarding side of the sport.
Well, do you feel like when you were working with guys like Destry and kind of like getting more into the off-road and really starting to race a lot more or practice a lot more of off-road in Arizona, that, you know, how much did they have to really, I guess, help you? Like, I mean, they're obviously great riders, but how much do they kind of like, oh no, it's a competitive guy, or it's like they're just so cool that it really doesn't matter that you're like coming up about to start beating them?
You know, I'd have to say, like, Destry was like, definitely I wouldn't be where I'm at without Destry's help. I mean, as far as mentoring, friend, everything. I mean, me and Destry are great friends, but, you know, we're still competitive on the track. And I think when I was starting to actually, you know, come to speed and, you know, start to challenge up, you know, towards the top 5 in works, you know, Destry, we were each at a stage where I was coming up, and he was kind of like stuck at that speed. And I think him being very, you know, he's an older guy, and he's definitely like been there, done that, and he had a lot of good knowledge to help me calm down and focus on the little things that I was missing. And I had a lot of that, you know, piss and vinegar,
right,
which I think helped him. You know, we go train with each other, and of course there's competitiveness, but at the same time, you know, we have a good time with it. You know, some days we go practice and he'd be faster than I was, and next time we go out, he's fast, you know, vice versa. So yeah. I think it's all good. I think it's all in good moderation.
Well, now that Emery's got the phone, you know, we're gonna see what she has to say. She's got a lot to say. She's a fiery little 2-year-old, so she's having a good time tonight. We're talking to Gary Sutherlin again. For those of you guys who are still tuning in, we appreciate the fact that we're still trying to figure out how to get better Wi-Fi here, and that's unfortunately the sad song that we continue to keep singing. So you mentioned kind of that you guys are in a new path of life. When you say you guys, I imagine that means Sherry Cruz, your wife, and that you guys have Emery and all this kinds of fun stuff. So how is it being married to an X Games athlete?
Well, actually, not to bring up any negative, but I'm actually a single dad now.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, that was last year was a pretty tough time in my life, and not just with her, with also right after that I ended up losing PJ Marquez at Denver Endurocross last year. So last year was kind of a mess, and you know, that's why 2013 I think's been a blessing. You know, we've definitely moved forward, and me and Emery are doing great, and you know, Sherry chose to go down a different path, do her thing. So, you know, at this point we're doing our thing, and everything's good, and no, we couldn't be happier. I mean, racing and enjoying each other and traveling all over the world has been fantastic. And
yeah.
So, I mean, it just can't. It's a lot of work with them. You know, she goes to the races with me. She was at Glen Helen this weekend, and you know, I have a lot of good support people around that, you know, love watching her. I mean, she's a blast. She's all over the place all the time, and she's a lot of fun. So it's not really hard to find people to help watch her. So it's been good, and she has a lot of fun at the race. She likes the outside and the dirt. So.
Well, did she make it to the two-stroke World Championships with you?
Yeah, she was down at the two-stroke race with me. She goes every race with me except for when I was in Brazil, Spain, and Germany. I know you dropped it. She actually spent some time. We went to Montana. We went to Montana because that's where I'm from, and I spent some time in Montana. And my parents actually, it was nice. They got to spend a lot of time with her, and I got to spend some time back home for a few, months in between, Spain and Germany and Brazil. So it was actually a really good time, and it was good to be home. And so, yeah, I mean, for those races, she got to hang out with Grandpa and Grandma, but all the enduro crosses and works races, you'll see me and Emery at all of them together. She goes with me everywhere, and we have a good time with it.
That's what I'm talking about. I kind of wish now that I was able to be bringing my family with me up to Big Sky. It's kind of unfortunate. It's one of those situations. Last year when I drove to Boise to do the ISTE qualifier, that was such a long drive, and I knew halfway through it I would never do that drive again. Ever.
Yeah.
And I say that now, and I probably will come 3 or 5 years, but still, that was ridiculous, man. So this year I was like, I'm flying, and obviously now that I've got a 1-year-old, a 7-year-old, and then my wife, there's no way that we're doing that, flying up there. So it'll just be me going up there, but we get to talk about that. So Andrew Campo wanted to know, does pepper go good with ice cream?
Tell Campo pepper goes amazing. I don't know if you guys know the story about that, but that was...
Sounds like a story we should know.
Yeah, one of the last times me, Campo, and PJ were all together, it was Vegas Endurocross, and I told them that, okay, if you put pepper on vanilla ice cream, you can't taste the pepper. Of course, they didn't believe me, so I put pepper on the ice cream, and of course, they said it wasn't enough. Well, enough ended up being the whole bottle, and it was just a mess. I had pepper everywhere, and of course, I could taste the pepper, and there was, it was a bad deal. So, no, Campo's a good guy, and we had a lot of fun. We always have a lot of fun together, and that's funny you brought that up.
Yeah, it's like it's funny that I'm getting text messages. Our friend Mark Coach, who actually won an Alliance off-road T-shirt on the show quite a few months ago at this time. When we had Boat Party, about 2 weeks ago, I actually got to a state of mind, if you will, that I decided to take his shirt off physically by ripping it. And
Nice.
It was unfortunately his Alliance off-road T-shirt. So, Mark, apologies. He's texting me about this. He's like, oh, your Alliance off-road T-shirt looks so good. And I'm like, he's like, it probably looks like it fit just as good as mine used to. So... since we're going to be at Big Sky with Brian Elliott, I think, Gary, that we could probably talk to Brian and see if we might be able to get him another one. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he can ante up and give him another shirt. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Things like that happen. So no, Big Sky. I'm excited for Big Sky. I think Big Sky is going to be great. I've never actually got to do that race, so I'm pretty pumped about it. And I've never raced an off-road race. I grew up in Montana my whole life, and all I ever did was ride motocross. I never did have an opportunity to race off-road or even ride off-road up there. So for me to go up to Montana and race kind of, I guess you'd say, a hometown race, I'm pretty excited. Whether it's dusty, hot, I don't care. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And I know my family will be there, my parents, and maybe some relatives and friends around there will be there. So it should be a lot of fun.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm actually going to be getting up there on Thursday morning. Going to be doing some... I will hopefully by Thursday evening have some course previews up, all kinds of pictures for everybody, and then on Friday is all the riders and teams, because of the fact we've got KTM is going to have their semi out there. We know Stuart Baylor just had surgery, so obviously he's not going to be racing, but his brother Grant Baylor is still going to be there. Charlie Mullins on the KTM side of things. The AmPro team's going to be up there with their big old trailer, trailer, not semi. They have their fun little trailer, and some of their guys are going to be up there. So it's going to be neat to see as the teams come in there. So as a privateer, as a working man's hero in off-road, what does your pit look like?
What's my what now?
Your pit. Your traveling area.
My pit involves a lot of my friends like to call it the Buffalo Bill van. It's
yes.
It's a Chevy Savannah van with like a 12-inch roof top on the top. And
did you just say roof?
It's perfect. I actually I set it up to where Emery has her car seat in the back, and I set up an iPad. She watches movies, and we go to the races, and it's pretty much a van and maybe a canopy, and I don't know what color dirt bike most of the time, but I know at Big Sky I'll be riding a Yamaha. So
all right.
We'll be riding a Yamaha up there, but it's all good. I mean, at this point, at this day and age with the economy and what everybody's racing with, it is what it is. We're all just we're trying to survive through this and get to the races and still enjoy what we love to do and be as professional about it as we can. So I think the day and age of semis from all the different factories is kind of gone. I think
right.
You see KTM even stepping up with sprinter vans and stuff instead of just their semis. So I think vans and box vans are back.
For better or for worse, they're probably going to be back. I had what was mine? Mine was a 1986 Dodge conversion van. Was when I was in college. Obviously, you can't keep a dirt bike in your dorm room, so it was like, oh, what else can I race? So I got into mountain bikes, and my racing rig was a 1986 full size conversion van that I took the back row out and made like a stage with a double mattress. Double because you never know, there could be a guest on random evenings. So you don't want to twins that up because that just sucks.
Yeah, I don't know if a van in college trying to take girls out, I don't know if that would go over too well.
I mean, I grew up in Louisiana, so it was more normal than you think.
Yeah, I don't know how well. I don't think if any guy came to pick up my daughter when she was 16 in a van, whether it was a dirt bike or not, I don't think she'd be going with him.
That's true. That's funny. That reminds me of an awesome story where I actually did have like a dad totally pull me into the house, sat me down, and oh, what do you do? How old are you? What are you doing with your life? Like, how's college? Like, giving me, and I didn't really think about it. It might have just been because of the van. It might have been the van's fault that he wanted to have that conversation with me, and not the fact that I look like a crazed maniac.
Well, if you're wearing that hat, I know he wouldn't even have pulled you in. He would have just gave you a high five, and you'd have been okay.
Yeah, you get out there with my daughter. I could trust a guy with a beer hat on for sure.
You got a beer hat on, go for it, buddy. Bring her back.
Only 3. That's all she's allowed. Then you got to bring her back. Cutting her off early. Well, sweet, man. And it's funny, now that we've talked about it, Andrew Campo comes back in, and he's like, ask him about the Whiskey Daredevils.
All right.
So,
the Whiskey Daredevils.
Whiskey Daredevils.
What do you want? Okay, let's get her settled and I tell this story. You want the screwdriver? I don't know if that's safe. That's not. Hold on here. So, Whiskey Daredevils. I'm trying to multitask. Emery.
Hey, I think you're doing a fantastic job. I'm okay with it.
Go watch Bob? Okay. So, the Whiskey Daredevils all started, I believe it was in 2008. About 2008. I was riding for PJ, for Valcom Motorsports, and I had a less than pretty stellar night in Phoenix, and I actually ended up jumping a motorcycle on top of a roof at a house. That is a long story. So when that all happened and we talked about it, we were all laughing, and Andrew and PJ came up with Whiskey Daredevils. And so between the 3 of us, it's kind of been this ongoing thing since about 2008. And I'm still waiting for Andrew Campo to bust out his trademark jump. He still hasn't done it. And, I'm waiting for it. He's been talking about it, and he needs to do it soon. I think I put him on blast right now, and I'm going to call him out that he needs to do it before 2014.
So he's got about what is that? About 6 months? No, that's like 4 months.
He's got 4 months of training. I can't really give out the logistics because it's
understandable.
It is a pretty high class jump, So, but the whole Whiskey Daredevil things came around when that happened, and with PJ, PJ was one of the, I guess you could say, founders of it, I guess, and unfortunately we lost him last year at the Denver Endurocross, and so that was kind of a hard thing last year, and he definitely was like the backbone to all that. So it's a pretty fun little joke and stuff we get going and talking about, but that's where the Whiskey Daredevils came from, as a stupid move on my part, which kind of like you ripping a shirt, but with motorcycles and whiskey involved, of course. So
right. Well, yeah. The 2013 boat party wound up in one of those situations where there were like 300 plus Jello shots and 2 kegs, and there were no Jello shots left the next morning when I checked the cooler, and I woke up in my house. Luckily, my wife drove and she wasn't drinking, so that was very safe on our part. But I had no clue how the night ended, no clue how I got home, or where I was when I woke up. So I'm just really glad there wasn't a motorcycle anywhere near me, because God knows I would have done something really stupid.
Yeah, and that's where the Whiskey Daredevils. That's where that kind of came into play, and it's an ongoing thing with Campo, and there's a bunch of other guys, involved with it, and you never know. You might even see a Whiskey Daredevil shirt come out here pretty soon. I know we've talked about some stuff, and it's a pretty fun little. It's just an inside joke, fun thing, and hopefully something can come of it. Maybe if not, it'll always be our little thing.
Nice. Actually, it's funny too because Brian Elliott, Dale Spinkler, and myself have been talking about our own little bro-sided mafia too, so we'll see how that goes. But I think Whiskey Daredevils, just as a shirt, sounds awesome. So, I mean,
you there?
I'd be in. Yeah, we're here.
Uh-oh.
Hello. Emory. Yeah, you're here. Hey.
You there?
How you doing?
I got you.
Yeah, you're looking good. Hey. No, we're here. We're good. All right. Well.
Hey.
What?
You want to come over here?
Yeah. Come here, Emery.
Say hi.
Hey.
She found a bag of zip ties.
That sounds way safer than a screwdriver. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, as you can tell, this is a single dad's house. When on the kitchen table, there's Phillips screwdriver, bag of zip ties, and a flashlight. So.
Hey. You know what? There's been much worse stories on the news where instead of all that stuff, it's meth and other kinds of illegal drugs. So I applaud you on the fact that there isn't any of that.
Exactly.
So keep telling us a little bit about Big Sky in 2013 and what you've got planned for you and Emery for the rest of the year.
Well, Big Sky, I'm excited for Big Sky just because for 3 years, they've pretty much been trying to get me to come, and I got injured one year, and then some, with personal issues last year and stuff, I couldn't make it. So I'm pretty excited. I've been thinking about this race for a while, and I have good expectations, but at the same time, I know let's just have some fun up there and enjoy it and see what happens. I mean, there's a lot of. Last year, I think, how many pros were there? Like 55 pros or
Dude,
something
it was
like
ridiculous, man.
So,
absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. So, I mean, the competition's going to be stiff. It's beautiful up there. I love Montana. And as long as I go out and have fun, I know I'll be up front. So, it should be a good time.
What day do you plan on coming home? Well, your family's going to be there. So, are you going to be what day are you going to arrive and what day are you going to head out?
I haven't. I'm actually, the last couple of days I've been building a couple bikes, my old 250Fs that I'm trying to sell. And as soon as I get those done, I'm going to actually head up. So I might actually head up a week before and try and do some riding in the trees because, unfortunately, the trees are not my total specialty. I haven't done a lot of tree racing, so...
What about the rocks? Rocks and trees.
Rocks? I heard it's a lot of shaly rock in the trees, so... I like the rocks. I've raced hare and hounds, done enduro cross. Of course, I feel comfortable in the rocks. But I don't know about bouncing off trees because those trees don't move like bushes out here in the high desert.
That's very true. That's very true.
Maybe get up there a week early, do a little riding, a little training, and hang out with the family before I go over to Bozeman.
Wicked. Well, so what's coming up? Well, then after Big Sky, and you get a little reunion with the fam and stuff like that. What's going to be next for you? What is that? The next enduro cross is coming up late September.
Yeah, once I get back down here, okay. Once I get back down here, we will. I'll be focusing on. I think I'm gonna do Milford Works Race because it's an open weekend. So go up there. That's always a good course. Milford is really off-roady, and so try and go up there, race that, and then we have enduro cross, and I think there's 5 rounds left of enduro cross. So I will finish off enduro cross. And that's pretty much about it. Ride moto here and there, do some local maybe REMs, and anywhere that's making enough, has a good enough purse I can make a little diaper money on the side. I'll definitely be there.
Understandable. Well, cool, man. I'm actually really enjoying this conversation, and it's like we could talk more about works, we could talk more about endurocross and all that kinds of stuff, but I don't like to have the show go too over an hour, and so I know I want to get Ryan on and talk for him a little bit. Yep. How about this? I know for a fact, since I'm going to be at Big Sky, let's sit down and we'll have some more time to talk. I know you said that you were missing out on a cold beer. I will go ahead and purchase you one of those. While we were in Big Sky, at least one. I mean, I'm not like your sugar daddy or anything, but I'll buy you one.
Man, I've been looking for one, and I was hoping you were the guy.
Yeah, believe me, with a mustache like this, I can't afford much. But yeah, I think it'll be a good time. We'll do some more interviews and we'll chat and we'll have a good time right there. I think it's gonna be fantastic. Can't wait to meet you in person. You are just as cool as everybody said. And congratulations on being an awesome dad, awesome racer, just a cool dude in life. We really appreciate your time, man.
Yeah. Thanks for having us on. And Emery, hey, say bye-bye. Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye to me and Emery. So,
we now have the best soundbite for seat time ever. Thanks again, Gary.
Later.
Peace. All right, so as we go ahead and transition over from Gary Sutherlin into Ryan Kudla, I'm going to go ahead and obviously talk about our fantastic, fantastic sponsors and partners out there. Can't thank Verb Off-Road enough for helping out with seat time. They kind of like organize my brain sometimes. And as you guys can tell, it's unfortunately needed. And of course, Steven's fantastic. He does a great job of doing that as well. And then Fly Racing. Fly Racing is our title sponsor. They have been fantastic. They've been with us since, I'd say, almost the very beginning. Again, they really do a good job of not just kind of saying, okay, cool, you talk about our product and, you get a little bit of reimbursement. That's absolutely not how it works. We talk with them about their product. They talk to us about our show. We have a fantastic partnership. I love being able to talk to Dale Spangler. Not only is he a fantastic rep of the company at Fly Racing, but he's also a really cool dude. He's knowledgeable about beer. He knows about whiskey. Knows about all kinds of other fun stuff out there. So I think that maybe you guys should go tweet him a little bit. Not Fly Racing specifically to ask about beer, but maybe about some whiskey, some bourbons, some beers that you should try. He's going to be at Big Sky. I think it's going to be a great time. I think everybody should be heading out to Big Sky if you're not going to make it. I know that Ryan is going to be working on getting his stuff together for heading to the ISDE for 2013. So Ryan, now that we have connected with you and have you on, this is, I guess, part 2 of episode 95. I don't really, we don't, just next guest, really. The next person that we're going to talk to.
Is the better part, or is it the worst part? I'm not really sure on that yet.
So far, I don't know. Are you at a Starbucks stealing someone's Wi-Fi?
I am not. I'm actually at home. I thought I'd break the Starbucks chain.
Well, somebody's got to.
I know Eric has to do it every time because he likes Starbucks. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. What I don't get, though, is like, I don't think you have to buy a drink to be in there, but your brother's always like, he's like, your brother's always like sucking on a Starbucks drink at like 10 o'clock at night. There's no way that would happen for me. I would be wired. So
I hate coffee. That's probably the biggest problem. But I'll drink a Red Bull at 10 o'clock at night and I'll fall asleep at 11. It's a tragedy.
You're a beast, man. Beast. Well, right away, you cut your hair. Like, I've seen pictures and video, and you had, like, long, flowing, redded head locks.
Oh, yeah, I grew my hair out 1 year because I wanted to donate it, and it was, like, the worst time in my entire life because it got caught between skid plates, bolts, car parts, everything, and I ripped out half my hair. And then finally I got to donate it, and now it's nice that it's a little bit shorter at least.
That it's not long hair anymore?
Exactly. I don't have to rip it out all the time. I had actually my girlfriend used to do a nice sweet French braid down the center when I'd go racing, because otherwise I'd get big clumps of hair in the goggles when we change in the pits.
Yep.
And that, everybody loved that one.
No, there was a Toro probably like 2008, 2009, and I had longer hair, and I came around the pits, and Cole Kirkpatrick's dad, Richard Kirkpatrick, was there. And I guess Cole had just pitted because he was really close watching. And I come up and was like, Richard, scissors! And he kind of like freaked out. And I took my helmet off and grabbed my bangs and just put my helmet back on, put the goggles back on, and kept going. And I literally had this inch long hair like in the bangs. And everything else was like almost shoulder length. And I obviously went and got it cut, 2 days later. But it was probably the most wicked mullet that I'll ever want to never have again. So that's
Is that why you went to the like real long front bang come over in some of your pictures that I've seen?
Maybe. Man, you must be going really far back though if you're stalking me that hard.
That was like your profile picture.
Yes. Oh no, that was really fun. I really enjoyed actually having that haircut because obviously.
Oh, this guy's terrible.
No, Ken Roxon. I'm not gonna lie. I love watching motocross. I can't do any of that stuff on a motorcycle, but Ken Roxon, he's from Europe. He's awesome. He's got an accent. He seems to get chicks. I was like, maybe my wife will think I'm more attractive if I have a Ken Roxon haircut. I can't say it did or didn't work, but I thought I looked better. So maybe not. No. That's okay.
I think you gotta weigh it out a little bit. You looked good like the first 3 weeks, and then after that it was just you did too much.
All right, I'll take your advice. So the 6 months that I had it was just way too long.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, 5 months plus a week. You should have ended it at 3 weeks. Well, Ryan, obviously you're a guy that we should have had on way earlier in the season because of the fact that you've been winning all kinds of crazy stuff in the Northwest. You've been riding your dirt bike like a madman. You and your brother actually coined the Kudla connection. If I had from Fast Company for being able to mount the different kind of bark busters to their flex bars. I think that there's a lot of crazy stuff that we could talk about, and I want to know more about this. You're also working on your PhD. You're smart. You're fast. You have red hair. You're a ginger. I mean, there's a lot there. So let's talk about the racing first off. So tell us about all the races. Well, maybe like all the points that you're in the lead for right now.
Right now hasn't been as impressive of a year as it was last year. I've kind of been focusing a lot more on ISDE.
Okay.
And that was really where I put the effort towards this year. I think I'm leading the Enduro heavyweight points. I'm second in the Enduro overall, leading Best of the West heavyweight, which is one of our smaller series over here. I'm vying for the lead, I guess, in the Get Extreme two-stroke pro series that Eric has. And then, qualifying for ISE was kind of the major goal this year. But last year I did win the Open National Hare and Hound Championship, Enduro Best of the West, or Enduro overall, Best of the West overall, and all that fun stuff. So this year hasn't been like a major year so far, but I mean, qualifying for ISE was the main goal. So it's really exciting for that.
Yeah, no, and that is an extremely, extremely tough challenge to do. I know I was one of the guys that was kind of like, oh, I'm fast in Texas. I could go up there and try to qualify. Did piss poor. I did horrible. I mean, rode like crap. It was, but I had a blast. The 2-day in Idaho last year was fan-freaking-tastic. So were you up there as well last year for the qualifier, or was this something that you'd never tried to do before qualifying for the ISDE?
So this year was the first time I actually tried to qualify.
Okay.
Last year, I had a friend, like, the day before sign-ups opened, he was like, hey, we're going up to ISDE, or we're going up to the qualifier in Idaho. You want to come? And I was like, I think I can get $180 to pay for the entry.
Right.
So I threw that down. We went up there. We had fun. It was two of us, and we, like, packed a 16-foot trailer full of just parts and crap and gear because we had no idea what it was going to be like. And so we left like Thursday night, drove straight up there, me and my friend's dad. And I mean, it was a blast up there. And then after that, I saw that I could have potentially qualified. So I was like, man, I really want to go after this next year.
Awesome. And you got it. I mean, you did it this year. You qualified for the ISDE. You're going to be on is it the District 37 club team, or is it one of the other districts?
Yeah, it's AMA District 37 club team, yeah.
Okay, it is. And that's fantastic. So I would imagine that you have already crated and shipped off your bike at this point?
I'm renting a bike, so I crated and shipped off all the parts to make it like my bike.
And tell us, so those that maybe thinking about it that don't understand renting versus shipping your own bike, why and what made you make that decision?
Basically, I couldn't get another bike. I just didn't have the funds to, set up another bike. So I was like, next best thing, I'll rent it and see if I can get all the parts.
Yeah. And you're a KTM rider right now, and are you renting a KTM, or are you going to rent a different brand?
Yeah, I'll be renting a KTM.
Okay.
Actually, ironically, I have a 2012 that I just sold yesterday, and then so I'm going to get a 2013, have to set it up, and then take all the suspension off and send it over.
So you're going to mail the suspension? You're not going to keep it on your person?
Oh, sorry. I'll actually take it on the plane.
Okay, no. And I think the only reason why I was asking for semantics on that is because of the fact that I think that that's things people don't think about. And not just people that are going to be maybe possibly one day trying to qualify, but it's the fact that guys don't realize sometimes when, say, like, you're kind of like a privateer kind of pro. You could probably go out and compete at a professional level, and you're going to kind of like try to be fighting to get into that top 10, and they don't understand what it's going to take sometimes for you guys to go and then compete on this international level, and the fact that little things like your suspension are something that makes such a big difference, and that you kind of need to take that with you even when you rent this bike, because you really need to go over there, throw it on this bike, try to make it feel like yours as soon as possible, go through all the tech inspections and everything like that, and then bam, race for 6 days and try to kick ass. So having said all that, mentally, how do you prepare for that kind of stuff?
I mean, I've just been trying to ride as much as I can. I try and ride at least once a week. I talked to Kurt, and he was like, just, moto every weekend, every chance you can get used to sprinting. And I've actually been training now, which is something that I haven't really. Oh, you're taking off the beer hat? What's up with that?
I don't have to.
I mean, if it's annoying, you take it off. But it was just really cool.
We'll leave it on. That's fine.
But basically, I've been riding my mountain bike 3 times a week and just kind of trying to get used to getting up early, putting in hours on something with 2 wheels.
Right.
And like you said, when we get over there, I think I get to ride the bike once to do jetting and suspension, and then it's just like race for 6 days. And that was the biggest thing that I heard about renting a bike was Nick Hamill, who went back in 2009, rented a bike, and he said that he got there, and as he was riding, the suspension was breaking in, so it was getting farther and farther off of where he had originally set it.
Oh, man. Yeah, so that's going to be it's I remember seeing guys like David Knight, like he was like back when he was coming over for more enduro crosses and stuff like that. You'd see pictures of him with his suspension in cases, as he's getting on the planes and stuff like that and checking all that. So that's crazy to think that that's going to make such a big difference, but I think it will, and I think that that's smart, that's something that you can take advantage of to be able to bring all of that over there. So tell us a little bit about your connection with the guys over at Fastco with the flex handlebars, and then of course I want to know about the Kudla connection, because apparently, not to say I didn't think you weren't smart, but apparently you and your brother are like a whole nother level up.
Hey, we try and do the best we can.
You're like, we're redheads, we're gingers, we gotta try.
Exactly. See, I'm the smart one, he's the artistic one, so we kind of have to like put that together and make hopefully one good person at least.
I think decent. I mean, you guys are good people, but we need decent. We need brain power. That's what we're looking for.
But yeah, so over at Fast, I think 2008 was the first time I ever rode with a pair, and it was I had a friend that was going down to Baja, and we raced on him, and I couldn't tell a difference at all because I'd never ridden the bike before. But in 2009, I put him on my bike, and it was like a world of difference. But the biggest problem that we kept having was we could never get our handguards to fit on there. Even we tried the BRP mounts, we tried the ones that were straight from Fast, but nothing just seemed to work. So it was our dad kind of started. He was able to machine in his work. And he made these little slim pieces that we were able to bend and get everything going. And we showed fast them, and they were a little hesitant at first because they already had their mounts out. But we just kept kind of pushing it, and we got them better and better and more refined. And now it ended up where they adopted them, and now everybody can buy them. And I've seen on KTM Talk so many people love them because it's easy to put their handguards on. Instead of the giant, bulky not saying the BRP doesn't make good products, but they're really large and they really stick out there and they're pretty huge.
Right. And nobody wants huge on the front unless they're bolt-on accessories on a woman.
Very true.
So those are the only time that you're like, okay, cool, bigger's always better. It's always more fun. It's easier to read by Braille when the lights are off at that point, right?
There you go.
Hey, so that's pretty cool. We were just working with a local rider, Brandon Glenn. He's kind of like a supercross. He's kind of like, I wouldn't even. He's a fast rider. He's kind of ridden for the SMS Racing Supercross team. Obviously, just East Coast, but done some local cross country races as well. Wanting to kind of do a little bit more off road. He actually got to test out a pair of flex handlebars for us, and he actually was immediate. And I told him, I was like, "Be honest with me. Don't, I was like, this isn't something that we got paid to do or anything like that. They sent them to us. They want our opinion, and they want to know what it's like." And he came back and he was like, "Holy crap, these things are awesome." He's like, "The only thing I have to say is that it feels like it's too stiff." And I was like, "Well, what do you mean it's too stiff?" I was like, "They're flexing, right?" He's like, "I can feel that they're flexing." He's like, "But now that I can feel that they're flexing," he's like, "I kind of want them to flex a little bit more." I was like, "Okay." So obviously, being the fact that I didn't want to send him out there and have him die or anything, I pull out the little instruction manual they have, and I was like, "Okay, so he wants it a little bit more, less stiff." Okay, so we put in the new elastomers, and he was like, or the little bit softer elastomers, the yellow, because they come with red. Bam! He was like, "Those things are freaking amazing." So now I can't wait to actually ride with them. I haven't ridden yet because of my surgery in April and all that jazz, but I'm gonna shove them in my gear bag when I go to Big Sky. I'm gonna slap them on the bike that Brian Elliott's bringing for me. I'm gonna give those things a big old test in the rocks and woods with my hopefully rehabbed shoulder.
That's good stuff, man. Every time I talk to them, they say put the softest one in there that you could possibly run. I run the very, very softest elastomer, the blue one, I think, on compression. And I've had big G outs that I've hit into, and I've felt the bars slam all the way down, and I've heard the forks clack out, and it feels like the bars bottom out and everything. And the only thing that hurts are my ankles.
So what you're saying is they need to put elastomers in the pegs.
That would actually, I think that's the next step.
So flex bars and flex pegs?
I think they can work around them. I don't know if your foot would kind of fall off, but it'd be close enough.
I think everybody said the same thing, apparently. I mean, I know I did. I was like, flex bars? Who wants bars that flex? And now that, like, everybody, well, not everybody, but a couple people that we've had ride the bars are like, yeah, those things are bad A. Okay. Go check them out. They are not a sponsor of Seat Time. They are just a product that we think is awesome. Us here at Seat Time, and obviously the Kudlas, because they have the Kudla connection going on, all that kinds of fun stuff. So, dude, just how did you guys kind of get into racing and riding? I think that's always interesting to hear, guys like yourself that have just been riding for so long, really starting to see the training, if you will, in your case, pay off. How'd you guys get into this stuff?
So we all started, my dad grew up on a farm, and he got a Z50 so he could ride up and down the strawberry rows and check pipes late at night. So he had a little Z50 that I think it was a Z50. I don't know what they were called back then, but really old bikes.
Right.
But he'd ride up and down the rows, and then when we were born at 18 months old, he threw us on the front of his bikes, and we'd grab onto the handlebars, and we'd just ride on the front until our hands were bloody. And then at 4 years old, I got a little PW50, and I crashed it the first day, and then I didn't touch it again until I turned 5, because it scared me. I wanted to ride on the front of the bike, but my dad was like, "No, you gotta ride your own bike now. You got your own." So from there, we rode as a family a lot. Sometimes we'd go out every weekend, and then when I turned 15, I had a friend that was like, "Hey, you have a lot of potential. You're pretty quick. Let's get you on a bike and get you racing." And then from there, we started going to all the desert races, all the enduros, and it just built up from there. In 2006, I got offered a Team Green position for Kawasaki, and I rode Kawasaki's from 2007 to 2012. I broke my neck in 2008, which was not that exciting.
Yeah, I bet.
It was the worst year of my life because I couldn't ride a dirt bike. That was the most horrible part of it all.
Well, how severe was can you give us a little bit more about, was it one vertebrae? Was it a couple? Like, how severe was the injury?
It was a C7 compression fracture, and so it was only one vertebrae, but the physical therapist was like, well, if it would have been any worse, you'd be paralyzed from the triceps down.
Whoa.
So it wasn't the most exciting to hear that, but I don't remember any of it. It was
right.
Of course it was April 20th. And it was early morning. I hadn't had time yet, just reading. But I came over a rise and jumped off it, and the trail weaved a little bit, and I landed right on the rock that it weaved around. Shot straight up in the air, came right down on my head. I don't remember anything, but apparently I got back up. I rode another 1.5 miles to the check. They kind of checked me out, and they were like, well, you can go if you want, or we can take in the ambulance. And I was like, well, I should probably take the ambulance ride. It's not that much.
You're like, my pinky hurts. I think I should go. And then you're like, oh, shit, my neck.
The whole thing was my neck was just sore the whole time. And then I remember in the hospital room, I was with my brother, and I was like, hey, I'm going to ask the doctor if I can race at the National next weekend because I want to race. And then the doctor came in and was like, hey, can you not move your neck? It's broken. We got to fly you to another hospital. We don't have a neurosurgeon here.
Oh, man.
So they flew me over, and then, so I remember asking that neurosurgeon, I was like, so when can I ride again? And he was like, I don't approve of riding at all.
So never? Check?
Yeah, never. He was like, I see too many injuries with all this riding stuff. So then, they put me in a halo, which I can basically assimilate to, you know how you pop a grape?
Yep.
Yeah, so basically think of that as your head, and them trying to pop your head with these 4 pins that go onto your head. And then I was in that for 2.5 months. I was in a neck brace for another month, and then it was 9 months until I could ride again. And like I said, it was the worst year of my life because I couldn't touch a bike.
So halos, we saw that Toby Price actually had a pretty bad neck injury earlier this year, desert racing, and saw him in the halo and stuff like that. So you mentioned the pins. Do the pins that are on your head, do they go into your head like they would when they're on kind of like for the bone, or is it just kind of pressing against it to hold it?
So it goes all the way up to the skull, and then it digs into the skull a little bit. They actually have this big torque wrench it's not a big torque wrench, but they use a torque wrench for it, and they're like, tighten it down, then it goes, ka-ka. And they're like, all right, that one's tight, and they go to the next one and do the same thing.
So it is like straight up through your skin, in your skull.
Yeah, when they pulled it out, I had a big old hole that you could see all the way down in my skull, and I have one, and all of them kind of like almost filled in with bones, so I have 4 hard spots, 2 in the front, 2 in the back.
So you almost have horns.
Pretty much. It's pretty close. Red hair, I got to have horns.
I was like, we're going somewhere with this. This is going to be awesome. So why don't you have chops like your brother? Or do you have the goatee while he has the chops? We got to differentiate. People always think we're twins. So it's like he's got the big chops and the big nose. I got the goatee and the little nose. Nice. Well, I like how you call your brother out like that. Big nose guy.
It's the best way to differentiate. It's like, if you look at, he calls me ugly, I say he's got the big giant hook.
The witch nose. So who's older? Are you older or is he older?
He's older. And that's one of the things that he hates. Everybody thinks I'm older because I'm faster.
Just because you're faster?
Pretty much. And he's like, no, yeah. I'm the older one. I stopped racing for 7 years. That's why he's faster.
And he's like, and then you're like, yeah, well, I spent a year in a neck brace. And then it's like, oh, then you're like brotherly love. That's the way brothers should act.
Exactly. That was the first race back. He was talking it up for like 3 months. I'm going to beat you. It's the first race I'm going to beat you in. Oh, I'm going to kick your ass. And then I passed him halfway through the first loop. What now?
Yeah. Suck it. That's fantastic. So was that a lot of hair scramble type racing, like cross country, or a lot of enduro, or mainly desert growing up? What was the main kind of type of racing?
So out in District 37, I mean, you have hare and hounds,
okay,
desert scrambles, Euro scrambles, and enduros, and we do pretty much all of them. A Euro scramble is pretty much like an hour long. It's basically a hare scramble, but we have to call it something different because we're in the desert. And we
okay.
take our own rules pretty much.
Because you're in the desert too.
Exactly. So basically all I rode was desert stuff. The first time I rode in the trees was actually Utah, when I did a National Hare and Hound in Utah, and those are only kind of trees. And the first time I rode in really big trees was Idaho. So that was my foray into tree riding so far.
Nice. Well, so let's talk a little bit more about the ISDE and the teams and all that kinds of stuff, because this was obviously a hot topic for a little bit, and it may still be. I think that everybody's kind of figured it out at this point. It is what it is, but everybody still has opinions on the fact that it's, there's some professional racers that are kind of coming in that didn't have to qualify for some of the team spots, but the USA has way more team spots than any other country out there. I think we have the most of any other team, and we're trying to build up to create a junior trophy team that can then kind of be a feeder team into the trophy team to create a winning trophy team and possibly have winning junior trophy team again. So what is your thought process on the fact of guys like Jimmy Jarrett, Nick Farringer, and Ryan Sipes, Zach Osborne's being on some of these teams without having to qualify or maybe not even having any interest until they get asked to do it?
So I actually, being a scientist, I did a little bit of research about it, and I looked up the teams because I remember them saying that we had one of the largest number of club teams out of anybody. And out of it was 35 countries that have club teams. There are 9 that send more or the same as us. And actually, Italy, they have 22 club teams this year, where we only have 6.
Holy crap!
I know. I saw that deal. Holy shit! How can you send that many people? Jeez.
How can they? That's true. It's Italy. It's not like they have to afford to fly across the pond or anything.
Yeah, true. I mean, that was the reason I thought that was like that. But I thought I was interested that there are 9 other countries that have the same amount of club riders as us, and there are another 3 or 4 that have just one less team than we do. As far as the selection goes, I mean, I totally understand why they would pick riders like that. While it kind of sucks for the people that were close, as it's been said a couple times, those selected positions usually went to people that were like really close to that second place rider at the qualifiers. And if you're really, really close, they'll just pick you to go because you did really well at the qualifier and they want to see the best team. But I totally understand why they would do it. As we all want to see USA do the best.
Right.
And I think that's the best way to do it, is to pick riders for that club team that need the experience. What I think is weird is, not all of the people on that club team are new riders. If they want to make that an experienced team, I mean, 2 of them are, so maybe that's what it is. 2 of them are the new riders, and then one of them's going to kind of be the experienced guy that'll show them how everything works and how to best do everything. But most sad about, though, is the junior trophy team has no West Coast love. What's up with that?
I know, it is kind of weird, isn't it? It could be you.
No, I'm too old. I'm 25.
Oh.
It was tragic. When I was 23, I just wasn't fast enough.
Understandable. I wasn't fast enough at 23 nor at 34.
You'll get there. You got the senior class coming up real quick, right?
Thanks, buddy. Yep. Sooner or later. Whatever. Jeff Fredette's always going to go. So that means there's only 2 spots. And then we got Scott Bright and Brian Story this year who are going on the senior team. And I have tried to beat Brian Story for the past 3 years, and damn it, if it comes down to seconds or minutes, I just can't do it. It sucks. Maybe one day, like you said, maybe he'll get a little bit older and I can get just a hair bit faster. Scott Bright, no way, not happening. That guy's super fast from Colorado. Whatever.
It's just got to be the perfect storm of everything to go. That was basically what happened with mine. I crashed in the second special test and broke my helmet all apart, and my wrist is still kind of messed up from it, but I just got lucky that a couple other people had worse days than I did.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, there's like Tuffy Pearson, Jake Argubright. I think he's 23 this year, and he's been challenging Kurt all year at the National Hare and Hound. So I think I'm a little biased, but I would like to see a little more West Coast guys go.
Yeah, and I think too, like and there was rumors and stuff like that about Caleb Russell wanting to be on the team before everything was officially announced, and then when they announced Stuart Baylor Jr. on the team, everybody who even like thought about it was like, he's not racing. Like, he's just not racing. So who's going to be his fill-in? And it was kind of like, okay, cool. They're going to have, that's where Caleb's going to come in, because I think the kind of the thought behind it was that Caleb didn't want to be on the junior team, even though that's kind of like age-wise. He wanted to be on the World Trophy team, and that's why he wasn't on the teams at all. And then with the whole Stuart Baylor situation, then he was able to kind of fill in for the junior.
He wanted to go on it. I guess that's kind of like Ross Neely, who really wanted to be. I mean, I heard he really wanted to be on a junior trophy team rather than a club team.
Yeah.
Which he's been doing great this year too.
Yeah, and that was kind of like that was a situation where he got offered a club position and turned it down because he thought he might be getting a junior invitation. Is that?
I don't really know all of it is behind it, but I know he was on the email offering a club team position, but I don't know why he didn't accept it. Really, that would be my best guess because he's of age, and he killed it at the qualifiers, and to race LOI and just destroy like that, and not get offered a junior trophy team position. I mean, all those people are really deserving of it that are on there. They're all really fast, but to do that well and say that the club team or the race scores mean so much, and then to not get picked, it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
And there's all that politics behind it, which kind of makes it. That's the part of racing that makes everything suck. Is all the politics.
Agreed. It's in one of those situations. If Team Wellard, if the Wellard group can decides and wants to continue to support this kind of semi trophy team, I think it should just kind of be well known that it's like, okay, cool, you guys are really only competing for X amount of spots because in reality these are still going to be pick spots. That's fine. I think people just I think the main reason why people were like so upset was just because they really thought that they were competing for X amount of slots, and then all of a sudden they just get completely wiped out and truncated down to 3 less spots. It's everybody's like, it was like I might not have spent the X amount of dollars in gas and race fees and all that stuff to go. And that would suck to say that, but maybe they should make the qualifiers more of a trip, more of an event, opposed to just 2 days of racing to get people to drive to these things. We go to mountain bike. I used to go to mountain bike competitions for 3-4 days, and it was like bands playing live. I mean, it was all kinds of stuff going on, but it was stuff that like family could do while you're out racing and kids and stuff. And there's, you know what I mean? Like, so if they're going to try to get these qualifiers going and get more people opposed to just trying to qualify for Team USA, they might need to reshape it and kind of think about it a little bit different.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, that's what everybody wants. Big Sky is huge, right?
Yeah.
As we were just talking about earlier, and 55 pros and just all the lesser class riders. I don't know the best way to say that.
Non-professionals.
Yeah, and then GNCC is. They get 1,100 entries each time, right?
Yeah.
Because there are these huge events where you can do so much, and I think that's. I think you really hit on the head where that's really what these should be. They're events where we can all go and hang out and have fun and not just drive through all night, race, and then drive through all the way back.
Well, there you go. I know when we talked to your brother, he was talking about possibly promoting an ISDE qualifier. You could take all of my knowledge that all of my smarts that I have just passed upon to you through the internet, and you can go have him have the best ISDE qualifier of all time.
I think he'll be on it. I'm pretty sure he's watching right now.
Uh-oh.
He keeps giving me like little texts like, "Oh, you should say this. You should call him this."
call him Muffin Pants. It's like, what? I don't know what that means, but I'm gonna do it.
I don't know if I should try that one.
You're like, it might be uncomfortable for everybody. Okay, so after ISDE, tell us kind of what 2013 then has in store for you. I would imagine it's going to be a 6-pack of beer and an ice pack and probably some monkey butt lotion. Other than that,
it'll be back to normal, going back to racing. That's the whole part of fundraising, right? So that we can go out there and do this and still come back and be able to afford to live and race.
Yeah. It's luckily air is free because after that, I still need to buy food and water.
Exactly. So hopefully, coming back, I want to, there's a couple more enduros. After that, our club will actually be putting on an enduro. And there's another enduro points paying event for our district that I want to win the enduro number 1 plate again for the 4th year in a row, which will be great. And then just try and start planning maybe for next year for Argentina if possible.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's just like trying to put all this stuff together. Obviously, we're having new kids and family and all that jazz. It unfortunately doesn't look like I'll be able to make it to Italy this year. If I can find a way to put together a package, if you will, or find the money. That's probably the best way to put it. Find the money. Then I'll be out there doing all the fun media stuff. But other than that, it looks like right now fingers are just crossed for 2014 Argentina. We are seat time itself. I'm going to be going out to Big Sky, helping out, doing a lot of media stuff. We're going to be trying to do some live interviews, live results, live post-race shows, things like that. Get some race footage up to you guys as soon as possible. So if things like that go smoothly, I know Steven and I are going to go to Oklahoma City on October 20th to go do a live kind of Q&A with a lot of the national enduro riders. We really just kind of want to keep pushing this and keep having fun with it and keep trying to do different things and just see kind of how things go. So, maybe Argentina 2014 could be a time where we could go out there and do live stuff from the ISD. I don't know. Only like one of the largest enduro international frameworks out there. You think somebody would pay for that, right?
Probably. I think if you can find a big enough sponsor, right? Everybody wants a little publicity.
Yes.
You just got to get it sponsored by like Monster or someone huge.
Hey man, you figure that out. You call me, and we will make it happen. But we already did discuss the fact that I should probably not allow Sea Time to be sponsored by an energy company or energy drink company because, my gift of gab, as Stephen like to calls it, is good enough as it is. And it probably would be a little too fast and a little too incoherent if I'm like hopped up on energy drinks the whole time.
It might be possible. That might be a little bit. But you said something about fundraisers, raising the funds, and I'm actually having a fundraiser this Thursday at Pole Position Raceway. So we're going to go out on go-karts, on electric go-karts.
Oh, snap.
Ironically, Ken Fott is the owner of Pole Position. He's like one of the co-founders of the whole thing. I think there are some out in Texas.
Yeah. We have one in Frisco.
There you go. But basically, we're going to have a big spaghetti dinner, races from 6 to 9. We're going to have a raffle with a whole bunch of stuff from TBT, Mohard, Fast. I know I'm forgetting other stuff. IMS, Bulletproof Designs, Dirt Tricks. We have a whole bunch of people that donated for the raffle. We'll have shirts available, so it's going to be an awesome night of racing. We're going to see who can set the fastest time.
Love it. That was a lot of fun. We went out for a couple different it's ironic that it's always the motorcycle guys are like, hey, let's have a birthday party, let's go race go-karts it's like let's do it, and we're all like showing up with our moto helmets like, we don't need your crappy little road helmets, we got this, it's cool, they're dot, whatever. So it's always a good time though. I love Pole Position. So if you guys are down Thursday night, go support Ryan Kudla and make sure you help fundraise his trip, and all the guys out there. I say definitely go out there to his website, buy his T-shirt, buy Jesse Grome's T-shirt, Andrew DeLong's T-shirt. Thad's got T-shirts, Zach Osborne's got T-shirts. All those guys have T-shirts and all kinds of swag that you can go help support these guys. They really do need your support because of the fact that it costs a crap ton of money for these guys to go over there and support, Team USA, our home country. So I've got a plethora now of my $20 T-shirts. So I think my plan is to have a blanket by the end of 2013 of just ISDE T-shirts, like every year.
That'll look good. You can just have just have a yearly blanket, and then every year you can, or before each ISDE, you can just use each one each night so it can give the riders luck.
Yes, I think what I should do is make the blanket and then take pictures with just the blanket, like one of those really good like laid out poses, like on the blanket.
I think you can make a calendar after 12 years, right?
Sir, you have just come up with a great idea for Seat Time in 12 years. We're just going to make calendars of me with ISDE blankets.
That could be your ISDE fundraiser every year, to sell calendars.
Yes, that is how I could go do media stuff at ISDE every year. I'm pretty sure people would buy that.
I'm definitely, there'll at least be one or two that buy them.
Yeah, you're like, I might get one. Once. After that, I realized it was a horrible mistake, and I will never do that again. That's okay. I don't think I deserve to be in a calendar. It's understandable. Okay, so as we're thanking all kinds of people for supporting riders that are fantastic, we have to say thank you very much to Powersport Graphics. So you can go to ridepg.com. They are a huge supporter of Seat Time as well. We can't say thank you enough to them. What's fantastic is they have a discount code set up for you to save 10% off of any order that you make off their website. So you just go put the discount code in Seat Time at ridepg.com. and you can get 10% off of anything you order. If that's not good enough for you and you'd like to save a little bit more money, you can use the ready-to-ship option, which will save you 40% off of your order. Now, obviously, you lose a little bit of the customization to your order, but saving 40%, obviously, big difference there in how it breaks down monetarily. And then, of course, you can order before 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and you can get same-day shipping. So if any of you guys are like, oh, my God, I forgot to order new graphics for my motorcycle, you can go to ridepg.com, do it before 11 a.m. Eastern time. Put in discount code seat time. Save yourself some money and then get it the same day and make your motorcycle look sexy. You can even ask them for a seat time logo and be like, boosh, seat time, support the awesome. Woohoo. So, Ryan, loved it. I'm not going to say you're better on the show than your brother, but you're definitely different in a good way.
Well, that's always good to hear. At least I can be kind of on par and a little bit different.
If nothing else, you're just different enough from your brother that we can have you guys on at the same time, I'm sure, and it'll be just as fantastic a show. You guys could like bicker brothers-wise, and you could bicker like media-wise, maybe even like agree a little.
That only happens every couple months, so I don't know if we can get a couple of those in there.
All right, then we'll only have you guys on like together like once a year. That way we get the best of both worlds at the same time. Like,
fair enough.
We'll just throw it all in there. So, ISDE coming up. Please go support Ryan Kudla and all the other guys out there. We loved having you on the show. Love talking to you. Love learning more about you. Yeah. Anything else out there you got?
No, I mean, just a thank you to all the people. I actually have my ISD shirt on right now.
Woo woo.
And I got all the sponsors on the back. It was amazing how many people stepped up. It's got all the sponsors on the back. Big one was Greg McGrath at Pie End Systems. He has helped in everything. The district, the club, graphics companies, AVIC, everybody has really, really stepped up. And it's really been amazing to see how much support has come out from the off-road community. And I say thank you to all of them. And anybody that I didn't mention specifically, thank you. I mean, my dad, my brother, my fiance, my mom, all those people have been really, really great.
Awesome. Well, yeah, dude, you're going to have a ton of fun. If I learned anything over there in Germany last year, it's have some of the beer. So when you go to Italy, you may be racing, but you're going to be doing it for 6 days. You need beer to recover. Just make sure you have your recovery drink and then have your beer.
The only problem is I don't like beer. It's very tragic.
Well, you're in Italy. You can probably get some good wine or something.
We'll scout around for a little bit of that stuff.
All right. Yeah, I just want to know what you find and what you find good, since I can't do it this year. So what you guys have been watching, if you've made it this long, which we really appreciate you guys for listening, tuning in, is Seat Time. You can find Seat Time, all the archive sites at seattime.co. That's the website where all this fun stuff lives. Of course, then you can find us on Facebook, so facebook.com/seattime. If we're on Twitter, twitter.com/seattime_CO, because we like to change it up on you guys. Of course, we're on Instagram. It's just Seat Time. You can search for us on all that fun stuff. YouTube, search for Seat Time. iTunes, search for Seat Time. Stitcher, search for Seat Time. It doesn't really change that. We don't like to confuse anybody out there, because that would just get more confusing for me. Just like when the hat falls off. Yay! All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Episode 95 in the books. Gary Sutherlin, Ryan Kudla, awesome two dudes. So much fun. Can't wait to learn more about you guys. Remember, always enjoy a pint full of awesome.